You were never meant to be passively saved. You were designed to discover your own saving grace. You were never meant to wait for life to level the playing field. You are meant to become so profoundly aligned with your inner power that fairness becomes a non-issue. You shape your reality, not by demanding justice from the world, but by embodying the divine creative force that resides in every heartbeat. Today, we embark on a journey into a profound spiritual truth, one that may feel uncomfortable or even harsh at first glance, but which ultimately contains the seeds of your most significant liberation. One central aspect we'll address is recognizing and dismantling the three illusions of external salvation, the belief that a relationship, material wealth, or external validation can rescue us from our innermost challenges. We'll explore each of these illusions in depth, showing how ancient teachings encourage us to direct our power inward rather than scattering it among external dependencies. Through these truths and the practical steps we'll introduce, you can begin to reclaim your innate capacity for healing, abundance, and self-actualization. We begin by acknowledging a universal human desire, the longing for rescue or salvation. This is part of the human condition, a feeling that there's something or someone out there who could solve our problems if only we found them at the right time in the right way. Yet, if you examine the world's most enduring spiritual and philosophical teachings, whether from ancient Egyptian wisdom, early Buddhist sutras, Stoic philosophy, or the Upanishads of India, you'll find a recurring theme. Self-reliance is at the core of genuine transformation. The idea that we can save ourselves isn't new. In fact, it's been woven into our collective consciousness across millennia. But for many of us, these teachings remain dormant until life's challenges force us to wake up. When we take full responsibility for our happiness, healing, and growth, something remarkable happens. The universe, or the divine, fate, or however you choose to define a higher power, begins to align in support of our efforts. Before breaking down these three illusions of salvation, let's explore what I call the divine paradox. At the heart of ancient Egyptian spirituality lies Ma'at, the principle of cosmic order, truth, and justice. Ma'at teaches personal accountability and unwavering responsibility for our thoughts, actions, and life conditions, as essential to aligning with the flow of the universe. Paradoxically, the more we take ownership of our lives, the more it seems like the universe steps in to guide and support us. This is reflected in countless spiritual traditions. In Christian teachings, for instance, there's the idea that heaven helps those who help themselves, or faith without works is dead. The Stoic emperor Marcus Aurelius advised that we look inward and find refuge in ourselves, because external circumstances cannot dictate our peace unless we allow them to. When you declare and believe, I am responsible for my life experience, it can feel daunting, but it can also be liberating. It means you aren't at the mercy of random events or other people's decisions. There's a hidden magic that arises from this stance. Suddenly, new ideas, synchronicities, and opportunities appear. Ancient sages interpret these events as cosmic forces responding to your shift in consciousness. Remember, responsibility doesn't mean blaming yourself for every misfortune. Rather, it's about owning your power to respond in a new, empowered way to whatever arises. The three illusions of external salvation. Despite what many ancient teachings point to, we still fall prey to believing that salvation lies outside of ourselves. Let's now examine three common illusions. Relationship illusion. Buddhism's concept of nekama, or renunciation, guides us to release attachments that create suffering. One of the biggest attachments is the belief that if we just find the right person, all of our emotional pain and insecurities will vanish. Yet, if we bring unresolved wounds into any relationship, those wounds inevitably manifest as conflict or codependency. If we have abandonment fears, for example, we may overreact to minor disagreements, interpreting them as threats of rejection. If we struggle with low self-esteem, we may seek constant reassurance, draining the relationship's vitality. This pattern can spiral into codependency, where each person relies on the other for validation, identity, or emotional regulation. Instead of fostering two empowered individuals who support each other's growth, you end up with an entangled dynamic that stifles personal and mutual development. Mart's principle of balance echoes this. True harmony in a partnership can only be established once each individual first finds a measure of inner balance. Instead of looking for a partner to fill our emotional void, we must fill it from within. Ultimately, recognizing the relationship illusion doesn't mean you can't desire or seek companionship. It simply means understanding that no external union can replace the union you must first cultivate within yourself. By doing so, you set the stage for deeper, more authentic love, one that transcends mere attachment and fosters genuine spiritual and emotional growth. Material illusion. From the Stoics, we learn that external wealth, while useful, cannot grant inner contentment. Stoic philosophers like Seneca and Epictetus remind us that wealth is a state of mind. True abundance comes not from hoarding assets, but from recognizing that contentment is accessible regardless of one's material status. Potential pitfall: putting life on hold until you make enough money. This mindset can trap you in perpetual dissatisfaction, because as soon as you reach one financial milestone, another appears on the horizon. By embracing what you already have and building from there, you free yourself from the treadmill of not enough and create space for genuine fulfillment. Practical integration. Start by listing 3 non-material forms of wealth you already have, such as supportive relationships, a creative skill, or good health in some capacity. This exercise trains your mind to see abundance beyond the bank balance. Validation illusion. In the Upanishads, the phrase aham brahmasmi, I am Brahman, reminds us that the essence of our being is inherently divine. When we wait for others to validate our worth, we abandon this cosmic truth. We become beggars for external approval, forgetting that our soul already embodies a spark of the infinite. While it's normal to crave understanding, pinning your entire sense of self on external validation can be detrimental. Ancient teachings consistently direct us back toward inner realization. Recognizing your oneness with the divine leaves little room for external dependence. Fully embracing the idea that we already hold a spark of the infinite within us leads to a fundamental shift in perspective. Validation is something we can nurture from the inside out. Recognizing our inherent worth doesn't isolate us from others. It liberates us to engage more honestly and compassionately in relationships. The awakening of inner divinity. Next, let's delve deeper into aham brahmasmi. To awaken this inner divinity is to realize you are not an isolated individual at the mercy of external events, but a microcosm reflecting the entire cosmos. This understanding exists within Egyptian, Buddhist, Stoic, and Vedic traditions, albeit in different words. The message is the same. The divine is not out there, it's in here. One way of tapping into the power of our own divine nature is through sacred practices for self-empowerment. Here, we build upon the synergy of ancient wisdom and modern practice, and integrate these rituals to experience tangible shifts in your mindset and energy. The mirror of self-initiation, Egyptian Ma'at practice. Time and space. At sunrise or early morning, stand before a mirror where you can see your whole face and torso clearly. Heart connection. Place one hand over your heart. Feel your heartbeat, symbolizing both physical life and spiritual essence. Declaration. I initiate myself into my own power. Repeat it 3 times, each time with increasing conviction. Visualization. Envision golden light emanating from your heart, illuminating your entire reflection. Ma'at's teaching of balance becomes your inner guide. Key insight. You are both the initiate, student, and the initiator, teacher. The cord-cutting ceremony. Buddhist non-attachment. Setup. Light a black candle, traditionally associated with protection and the absorption of negative energy. Writing exercise. On small scraps of paper, list the external sources you've been relying on for salvation Could be a person, a job title, or even a future aspiration. Burn ritual. Burn each paper while affirming, I release the need for rescue. Feel a sense of liberation as you watch the paper turn to ash. Reclaiming energy. Visualize your freed energy returning to your body. Sense it filling you with warmth and renewed clarity. The power activation practice. Upanishadic meditation. Sacred space. Arrange 4 crystals or stones at the 4 cardinal directions: north, south, east, west. Directional acknowledgement. Face each direction and mentally connect to its symbolism. Divine centering. Stand or sit at the center. Inhale deeply and proclaim, I am the power I've been seeking. Integration. Let this statement resonate within every cell of your body. Internalize that the divine spark you seek already exists within you. The liberation from fairness. The universe doesn't operate on human notions of fairness. It operates on divine law. When you understand this difference, you unlock a power greater than fairness could ever provide. Many people get stuck waiting for life to be fair. We wait for recognition at work, for that friend to reciprocate our kindness, for a significant other to treat us exactly as we treat them. But from a universal or spiritual viewpoint, fairness is far broader than human justice. The fairness fallacy. Attachment to fairness creates mental and emotional suffering. We fixate on how the world or certain people should behave and become bitter when they don't meet our standards. Mayat's teaching on divine order reminds us that fairness isn't about immediate reciprocation. It's about cosmic balance, unfolding over timelines far beyond our current perspective. Confusing cosmic law with human justice leads us to make unrealistic demands on reality. When those demands are not met, we feel let down, trapped in a cycle of resentment. Potential pitfalls. Staying in a victim mindset. If you remain attached to the idea that life must be fair, you risk living in perpetual disappointment whenever reality deviates from your script. Misinterpreting acceptance with apathy. Accepting that life isn't fair doesn't mean we never stand up for justice or advocate for positive change. It means we move beyond victimhood and work from a place of empowered realism. From Buddhist teaching, life's inherent unsatisfactoriness, dukkha, includes the pain of perceived injustice. The more we cling to the idea of how things should be, the more we suffer. When you release the need for life to be fair, you gain access to something far more powerful, the ability to create regardless of circumstances. Fairness as a mental trap. If you dwell on fairness, you can easily remain in victim consciousness, believing events are happening to you rather than for you or even through you. Freedom through acceptance. Recognize life's inherent unpredictability and stop expecting it to conform to personal ideals. This frees up massive mental and emotional energy, allowing you to focus on productive and creative pursuits. Historical examples. Figures like Nelson Mandela or Mahatma Gandhi didn't wait for fair conditions. They acted based on their higher principles. Their circumstances were anything but fair, yet they transmuted adversity into monumental social impact. Spiritual fuel. Transform feelings of injustice into motivation. If you face unfairness, use it as raw material to fuel your spiritual, creative, or professional development. Does releasing fairness mean I let people walk all over me? Not at all. You can maintain boundaries, assert yourself, and stand for ethical principles without pinning your emotional well-being on whether or not others do the right thing. It's a subtle but powerful distinction between advocating for justice and feeling personally victimized when justice isn't immediate. Objection. What if someone truly wrongs me? Am I just supposed to accept it? Answer. Acceptance doesn't mean approval. You can seek remedies, legal or otherwise, if that's the correct course of action, but you let go of the emotional expectation that the universe owes you a swift and perfect compensation. This mental shift prevents bitterness from draining your spirit. Example. A person is laid off from a job they excelled at and feels betrayed. If they become consumed by "it's not fair," they might slip into depression, neglect job searching, and lose momentum. Instead, channeling that energy into reskilling, networking, or launching a passion project can lead to a more fulfilling path, even though the initial event felt unjust. As these teachings and practices take root, remind yourself that the most enlightened masters in history did not wait for pristine, fair conditions or a rescue team. They saw obstacles as divine catalysts, opportunities to hone inner strength. Indeed, what might look like abandonment on the surface is often an invitation to step into greater sovereignty. So again we say, you were never meant to be passively saved. You were designed to discover your own saving grace. You were never meant to wait for life to level the playing field. You are meant to become so profoundly aligned with your inner power that fairness becomes a non-issue. You shape your reality not by demanding justice from the world, but by embodying the divine creative force that resides in every heartbeat. This is your initiation. This is your time. Trust the power of taking one more step on your path to a better life.